Okay, and I'm back again. That sound? That's me, not you, don't worry. And I'm back again here with two players. We have Toasty Boat and CAD, both similar MMR. One of them 3200, one of them probably a little bit higher, 3400. So 200 MMR difference. And they're going to be playing a best of three. So the first map, it appears, is going to be Royal Blood. I did not check with them about the maps, but they're going to be playing Royal Blood for the first map. And so we're going to get, hopefully, an exciting TvP with Toasty, Boat, and CAD. So, just going to see what happens. Game is starting, going in. Now, in the top right, in the purple, we have Toasty Boat. And in the bottom left, the green SCVs, we have CAD. Both of them are playing for Team Clano. Shout out, that's my clan. You know, anyone on NA wants to join, we have a clan. Pretty big clan, too. I believe third largest on NA right now, which is pretty cool. Anyway, done with the weird clan promotion. Toasty Boat going for a Reaper wall, so any Reaper CAD tries to go for is going to have to run through the front, which makes it a lot easier for Toasty to defend it. Generally, I think Reaper walls are a good idea. Although, sometimes if Terran doesn't go for a Reaper, it's just an easy target for tanks, because Terran can always put tanks on this low ground, and they can kill your Cyber Core pylon in the gateway. And if you put any other tech there, then it also gets unpowered. So it's risky, but overall, pretty good. CAD going for an 18 SCV scout looks very standard. Toasty's probe is already going out. It's already almost at the base. He's just going to rally it all around the base. CAD going for a double gas opening, so going to get a little bit aggressive, either a tank push or some Reaper Hellion play. Going to start with a Reaper. So, most likely Reaper Hellion, but you could still go into a tank push from this. CAD also scouting around, sees the Reaper walls, sees the expansion timing, knows everything's going to be normal. Sparix is not in the right spot. But Toasty also scouted, should see that there's going to be some aggression, so he should be pretty well defended for when it comes across the map, hopefully. Oh, sorry, I'm actually going to get rid of this Discord overlay. If that was annoying. I don't actually know if you can see it. I'm still kind of trying to figure this out, but if you could see the Discord overlay and it was annoying, I'm very sorry. But anyway, we have no tech yet coming out for Toasty. But he is going into a Stalker, not in depth, somewhat interesting. The Reaper just kind of idling, saying he doesn't really want to kill probes. Twilight Council going down, as well as Reaper Hellion coming out. We actually have reactored out Reapers or reactive Marines. We have neither yet, but we do have a starport coming down, and we have reactored Marines, so we're only going for one Reaper and one Hellion. Somewhat odd. Normally I think we would see reactored Reapers with this, but you could also just go into a tank push after one Reaper, one Hellion. Not the end of the world. Both build orders looking fine for either side. Toasty gonna full wall the natural because he knows there's a good chance it's gonna be Reaper Hellion aggression. Also doing some casting things. It wasn't best 3, sorry about that. Dark Shrine coming out from Toasty Boat. So, game's gonna get interesting. He's gonna make some invisible units. CAD, though, is Terran, and as such does have access to the scan mechanic, meaning he has detection whenever the hell he wants. Robo finishing for Toasty. Probably gonna make a Warp Prism. probably gonna warp in some DTs. Liberator coming out from CAD, interesting choice, probably wants to send that into the main base. Yep, that's right, Warp Prism is coming out for Toasty, so his plan is most likely to warp in 3 or 4 DTs on CAD's side of the map, and hope that CAD just muled and doesn't have any scans. And CAD does seem to be muling pretty hard, so there's a good chance that's going to be true. The question is, does he jump into the main base and scout the tech? Because right now, he has no idea what tech it is. All he sees is the robo in the front of the wall. But he is going across the map, doing very powerful push actually. This is probably going to build some bunkers, Toasty's side of the map. Going to have a Liberator siege up the front of this wall. This looks very scary, but Toasty does see it, and decides to avoid it and keep going for his plan of warping in DTs. This is very risky for both players. Both players could just die here. And we have the tank sieging. Only 2 Stalkers here to defend against a bunch of Marines, Liberator, SCVs, and a tank. Does not look good for Toasty. More Stalkers coming down from the main base, so he's going to hold. Warps in DTs from the back to come in and snipe the tank. No, just kill Marines, but it's going to work either way. Yep, they get the tank. They're targeting down the Liberator. DT's just kind of doing random things a little bit. We have no scan energy available for CAD as he just mules again for some reason. And the DT is doing work for Toasty, however, CAD still does have the supply lead. But he is going to keep losing whatever units he rallies over. He just keeps rallying units over to die. This is not the play. Third base finally going down from CAD, not going down from Toasty, probably because he feels he's under so much pressure he couldn't get it down. Warp Prism just kind of idling in the middle of the map for no reason. We have Charge on the way and Blink. Ooh, DT Blink is interesting, not very common to see. The 3 DTs are in the Warp Prism that's idling in the middle of the map for some reason. Very low HP Liberator going back to the main base. Hopefully it gets repaired, but maybe not. We have a full supply depot wall with a missile turret for CAD. So he is prepared for these DTs now, as he knows they're coming. Well, I say he's prepared, but there's nothing to defend in the main base, but he is saving up scan energy, so he should be okay. But, oh yeah, Raven is at 2. Only 1 Marine, though. 1 Marine's dead. Tank is not in range. Gonna try to... Fighting with the SCVs is a bad call. But he gets 1 DT. And the other 2 are gonna get out. And we're just still making units. Toasty just keeps making units. No third base in sight. He's just going to 2 base all in or die trying. Liberator defending the third base, kind of, but there's no detection here other than the Raven. Raven's good detection though, so it's okay. Bunch of SCVs idling in the natural for CAD. Not optimal. It's not the end of the world either. Turrets going up everywhere around the base, because CAD is very paranoid about these DTs, which is honestly fair enough. Again, I just wish this Liberator would get repaired. It'd be so much better. It's okay. A lot of DTs here. What is this? 9 DTs? Yeah, 9 DTs for Toasty. And they have DT Blink, so they can just go. 1 Zealot running in, probably going to lose his life in the Liberator zone. That is correct. Toasty just idling with his army in the middle of the map for some reason. Could be going in right now. And I think CAD would just die if Toasty were to go in right now with all his stuff. Maybe not. Maybe he could defend. Really just depends on the micro from both sides. Toasty making absolutely nothing right now, and also doing nothing with his army. But he's going to set up multi-prong, but there's already double turret here. Meanwhile, units run into the natural base. Zealots are in the natural mineral line. DTs are going to do DT things. Probably blink on the tank or just kill the natural, I guess. DTs could blink through and snipe these 2 tanks if they wanted to. They apparently don't want to. But Toasty now up around 40 supply. Game looking very good for him. Units at the third base as well. Gonna see DT blink whenever it's off cooldown, maybe? No, we're just gonna walk in, Kill the tanks. And that is game. Game 1 goes to Toasty Boat in a very interesting game 1. Started out with CAD going for Liberator tank harass, or more like a Liberator tank push, very dedicated. And Toasty going with some Blink DD shenanigans into CAD's natural, and it just won in the game. So, good job. Now, they're going to decide on a second map. Again, I'm not there for the decision process, unfortunately, but they're going to decide on whatever they want to play. Okay, and we get into game 2 with a 1-0 lead for Toasty Boat. Can CAD bring it back, or will the invisible men from the game previous be too much? Oh. CAD, a little bit of a color change for whatever reason. It's okay. Okay, in the bottom left, spawning in as the purple Protoss, it is Toasty Boat. And in the top right, spawning in as the teal Terrans, it is CAD. Again, another Reaper wall from Toasty Boat, just to negate some Reaper mobility. Won't be able to jump in if he does it properly. Entrance system, kind of a hard map to Reaper wall in, but Toasty should know what he's doing. And in the top, CAD is just kind of doing Terran things. Not much to say about this game yet. Looks very standard. Not proxying any buildings. No shenanigans really going on from either side. Toasty going for a pretty early... Actually, not even pretty early. He was going for a gateway scout. Pretty standard. CAD probably going to go for the 18 SCV scout again like we saw in the first game. Or maybe not. Maybe no scout from CAD. Also pretty standard for a Terran player to not scout. Most of them don't enjoy scouting. I personally, as a Terran player, don't enjoy scouting at all. So, I'm just gonna see how this game 2 unfolds. Cute little supply depot micro there. Standard game, we're just gonna go into Reaper Fast Expand from Terran, so we're not gonna see double gas like in the first game. Toasty just gonna go for core before Nexus. Again, very standard in this matchup, because you want to get the unit out earlier to deal with the Reaper. Probe is gonna harass the SCV building the natural CC a little bit. If he gets it, that'd be really good, but he's just gonna go home. He knows he probably won't get it before the Reaper comes out, so there's no worth dying for it. Reaper comes out, it's gonna go straight across the map. We should see a factory get thrown down in a second. CAD taking the second guess very early. You always want to throw down the the factory before the second guess, so a bit of a mistake, that's okay. Reaper is just going to jump up. Yep, that is not a Reaper wall. As I said, it's very hard on Ancient System to do it. I don't even know if it's possible. I think it is though. Stalker's gonna be late, so we're gonna lose 2 or 3 probes to the Reaper, which is actually pretty good damage for CAD. And this game looks much better than the first one already. 4 worker kills. That is very good for the Terran player. Being up 2 workers against the Protoss, something that really shouldn't happen, just in general in this matchup, is the Terran to be up workers. But behind this, he's just going into a standard game. 1-1-1. Oh, actually. No, wait. We just lifted for no reason. Alright. Could have been Widow Mines, could have been Hellions. Instead, we're just going to go into probably tanks and Marines. Toasty, once again, going to go for Twilight Robo. Possibly the same DT build as last game. But we'll have to wait and see what tech building he decides to go for after this, if any. Might just go for Colossi and a Robo Bay. We have eBay coming out for CAD, pretty standard. All looks very standard for the most part. Probably should see second and third barracks come down pretty soon. Or not. Gonna see some sort of Raven build. Raven, Cyclone, maybe tanks after that. But I'm much more interested... Okay, we have Charge. Charge from Toasty Boat. So it's not going to be the same kind of DT thing. Instead, some different, presumably 2-base all-in with Charge. Same kind of Robo thing from CAD, though. Or not Robo. Raven thing from CAD, though. That's not great against Charge. It'd be much better if we were going DTs again. The extra production is added on very late, so... we're not going to have a lot of units to defend this 2-base push, and this looks very good from Toasty. I could see him just flat out winning the game with a bunch of Zealots in the main base. Also, these are in somewhat of an odd position, but I get it. They're going to swap, these two are going to lift, we're going to start stim combat, going to start medevacs, go into more tanks. More tanks is not good. What you want here, if CAD knew what was going on, is he would want Widow Mines. Unfortunately, he does not know what's going on, and as such, this Prism with Zealots in it is probably going to do damage, although he gets caught out on the map by the Cyclone. That's a big deal. Charge is not done yet, so the Cyclone will get away with its life, and CAD will know that some kind of charge thing is going down. Oh, can the Cyclone catch the... And he's gonna get it. Probably gonna lose the Cyclone for that, but that's a big deal. It means all aggression that Toasty but wanted to put on is now void, because he has nothing to warp in with. Trying to go in anyway is a mistake. Yep, and he notices there's too many Marines, so he backs off. Just going for a 3rd base. No 3rd base from CAD, instead we have Stim. Not combat shields yet, but we have Stim, we have Marines, we have 3 racks, we have tanks, we have medevacs. It looks very Terran. 3rd CC is now going down, only a little bit behind the Protoss, not very bad for the Terran whatsoever. We have another Prism out, a lot of units on the map, but Terran has plenty to defend us. We have a tank in the main, bunch of Marines, the Raven, tanks, medevacs, it's going to be fine. Looks like it's just going to go into a standard macro game from here, with turrets being built in the main. CAD is very paranoid about this Prism. What you could do instead is just put 4 Marines. It's much cheaper, much more, not supply efficient, but it is much cheaper. But there is no Prism harassment going to go into the main, so these are going to be completely useless. Instead, Toasty probably just going to try to charge all his units in here and see what happens. Maybe he'll just check for a 3rd, see nothing, and go home. I think that's the wiser choice, but nope. Probably going to try to charge into the natural, and it's probably not going to go well. Or not. We just run past the natural. Probably going to warp in again and then go into the natural. 3rd base is done for both players. CAD moving out to try to take his, but now Toasty's in a good position because CAD is out of position. So what I thought would have been a bad fight going into natural is now a very good fight at the 3rd base. And Toasty once again is up 20 supply on the Terran player, warping in stalkers on his side of the map. However, it's hard to break a Terran. We have tanks in the main, one is too far back, but 1 tank in the main doing damage, bunch of Stim Marines. Is it going to be enough? It appears like it is in fact going to be enough to hold. Oh, maybe not. Poor control on those Marines, just move commanding them forward. This tank's gonna die, and this appears to be game. Actually, I think CAD's just dead. Down 40 supply roughly. There's his 3rd CC floating. This tank's about to die. No workers in the natural. 5 racks, but it doesn't really matter. There's a Prism in his main. Nothing he can do about it. This game's over. GG is called, and Toasty wins the series 2-0. Thank you for watching this excellent series with me, and goodbye. Have a nice night.